I think it's advertised far too much on television. I think it's ridiculous.
Every commercial that comes across has always got one thing about gambling.
It looks so glamorous just to make a sports bet.
You watch the horses and they are asking you to bet.
They're just throwing gambling down your throat now.
I really hate it. I go to the footy and it's all around the ground.
Bet on the football, bet on a game, bet on an outcome.
I think that's a really disturbing thing.
I've never thought of it as a teenage problem.
Research suggests that about 80% of young people will engage in some form of gambling before they're 18. And that may include the informal types of gambling, like gambling with their friends, but also the things that we don't necessarily think of as very risky, so lottery tickets, raffles, and so on. Statistics show that about 3 to 4% of children will develop a problem with gambling. And I guess the biggest changes is move away from what we call land-based gambling, so going into a TAB outlet, and now being able to gamble on a whole range of electronic devices. And the most common of those is your mobile phone. Your gambling venue is in your pocket 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One of the things that we hear a lot from young people is that they perceive that gambling has become normalised or part of the sporting experience, that this is something that you do if you're a fan of the game. One of the classic ways in which we've seen the gambling industry advertise their products and services is online, through the internet, through social media sites like Facebook and Twitter, but also things that kids are really attracted to, like YouTube. When young people look at gambling advertising, they see sometimes quite a different thing from adults. They see it as easy, entertaining, fun. They also think they have much more of a chance of winning.
My youngest one is on the internet quite a bit.
Well, I'm their friend on Facebook, so I make sure I check up what they're doing.
I don't get to see what my kids are looking at online.
I should do more, but sometimes it's easier not to cause World War III.
Young people take risks. That's what they do, partly because they don't really appreciate what might happen, what's the consequences of those risks. So that's kind of why gambling might be very attractive to a young person. But what we've started to see a lot more of recently is young people coming in, usually being referred by their parents, with problems either gambling or gaming. There are increasingly a lot of crossovers between gambling and gaming. Games are being developed by companies that have a vested interest in pokey software manufacture, for example. If you spend some money, you might get the thing that you need to get to the next level of a game, and essentially that's gambling. When they get to the point of 18 and they're legally allowed to gamble, it doesn't seem as much of a jump for them. Young people are being groomed by gaming companies. Quite often what we do as clinicians is encourage parents to actually play games with their kids. Play games in a communal space, maybe play together in the living area, so the kids aren't going off into the room on their own.
Gambling ads do in fact end up on kids' apps and kids' games.
He could download an app, he has a credit card, and he could actually be betting on games.
It certainly normalises the idea of playing an electronic game to win money.
They must be making buckets of money off someone.
One of them is missing school. That's one of the first things that tends to drop off. Also, kids can sort of become increasingly obsessed with simulated gambling apps and games. They may no longer be interested in just going to watch a footy match or a soccer match. They're starting to talk about who's going to win, how much money you might make if that team wins, what kind of odds were on this team or that team. Another thing is depression and the onset of sort of, negative attitudes. You get a young person who's staying in their room all the time, who's not seeing their friends at all, who's not really looking after themselves. They stop talking to you, they stop talking to their friends, and when you do question them, you'll get quite negative, sometimes quite angry responses. I would really encourage parents to talk to their young people, to their teenagers, about gambling, even if they don't think there's a problem. Starting to have those conversations earlier on means that it's more easy to talk about them if and when they do become a problem.